Hello, so welcome back to this live stream. And you remember we are reading the Bible. So if you don't like to read the Bible, this life is for people that like reading the Bible. I'm sorry to disappoint you. So for people who understand what we are doing, you can kindly join this live, and don't forget to like, to share, to subscribe. We have just concluded with Numbers chapter 5 and chapter 6. Now we are going to be reading Numbers chapter 7. We remember that the book of Numbers is just filled with a lot of things. That's the conclusion of the most of the things that happened during the time of Moses and the Israelites before they got to the promised land. It was all about the rules and regulations being given to them by God. A lot of people will think it's not applies to us today because we now have a new covenant, but you'll be shocked when you read it. You see that you will discover that there are so many things to be learnt from these Bible verses that we are reading. So don't neglect any single chapter of the Bible. It teaches you a lot. Remember, the word of the Lord is new every morning. Yes. So Numbers chapter 7 says, when Moses finished setting up the tabernacle, he anointed it and consecrated it and all its furnishing. He also anointed and consecrated the altar and all its utensils. Then the leader of Israel, then the leaders of Israel and the heads of the families, who were the tribal leaders in charge of those who were counted, made offerings. They brought out their gifts before the Lord, 6 cover carts and 12 oxen, 1 oxen for each leader, and a cart from every 2. These they presented to the tabernacle. The Lord said to Moses, accept these from them, that they may be used in the work of the tent of meeting. Give them to the Levites, as each man's work requires. Now, you remember, try and remember, let's trace it back from what we've been reading since. You know that Moses was doing this work all by himself after he was able to coordinate and make the Pharaoh to let the Israelites go. Because of the power of God upon Moses, a lot of Israelites believed in Moses because they saw him as a prophet of God. Now, Moses now had to enter into every single case that was happening in the camp of the Israelites. So if anybody has issues with anybody, they must present it to Moses. And during that action, Moses' father-in-law came visiting and saw what is going on and said to him, this thing you are doing is draining you. How can only you be taking all these cases, be handling them? So that was what made Moses to divide and share leadership according to the clan, according to families. They now had head of families. They now have, just like in the nation now, this is how it started, to have the local government, the states, the federal, and so on. So they now divided it according to families. Each family had head, and each clan had head, till the point that Moses now became the overall overseer. So when the issues they are having became too hard for them to handle, they now had to bring it to Moses. Otherwise, he left it strictly on the leaders of each clan to handle. So that was how they started having leaders in different measures. Now, after that, the Lord divided the works. We remember that the Lord was very meticulous about what he wanted from the Israelites. So he gave them guidelines of what they are expected to do each time they are doing anything. Just like building the tabernacles, he shared the job according to everybody. He even gave the abilities to perform like woodwork, to do so many things to so many people. And as he's giving them, he's telling Moses, I have given this person this gift. He's to handle this. Tell these people to bring that. The sewing people, the every other thing. God was able to do all those things. Now, he did not leave out everybody. He shared the lands and everything. And according to the Levites' main job were just to take care of the tabernacle. And we talked about it the last time we read the Bible, and we said that a lot of people will be envying the Levites, just like you see men of God now, as they are driving big cars and being so popular. You see, like, look at this guy, he's just enjoying. Just like the Levites, we are not doing much. Their job as they came out in the earth is just to take care of the tabernacle. They are not expected to farm. If you bring sacrifice, they give it to them, they eat. People will now be looking at them as if their life is better off, that they are not doing much. But I made you understand. If you don't watch the live video, kindly go back and watch it. I made people understand that you should not envy anybody, no matter the circumstance or situation of how the thing looks like. And I made you see the sons of Aaron that were killed in the temple of the Lord because they performed a wrong sacrifice with a wrong fire. Regardless of them being the sons of Aaron, being the people dedicated to be under God, to be the people serving God, they made a mistake, and the slightest mistake they made cost them their lives. And I also told you people about how the Israelites were always sinning against God, sinning against God. God will always forgive at some point. He will deal with some people and forgive the rest. But Moses committed a sin. Remember, it was God that asked him to go and help the Israelites come out. He is following God's instruction. And because of the provocations of the people of Israel, he went to strike the rock twice. You remember that for the Bible students. And this cost him from seeing the promised land. It was not recorded anywhere that somebody came to beg on behalf of Moses. No, nobody did. Nobody came and said, God, please now. You know, he has been working from since that time and he's almost there. Just look at the promised land. It's almost here. Let him at least enter. Nobody did. But Moses was always the one going to beg God on behalf of the Israelites so that the Lord will not destroy them. What am I trying to say? That those men of God that you see that they are enjoying tithe and offering, they seem to be doing well. Everything, they are driving big cars, traveling the world. Nobody is disturbing them. It's not as easy as it looks, because they too have their own work cut out for them, and the slightest mistake from their own part will cost them more than we that are ordinary people that are just worshiping God and in our own way. So it draws your attention back to the Levites, the people who the Lord dedicated just strictly for the work of the tabernacle. Make sure everywhere is clean and everything is arranged. If anybody performs a sacrifice, this part of the sacrifice belongs to you. Go and eat, because you are considered holy, with like a child of God and all that. So they are not allowed to go and be working, farming and doing all those things. Everybody brings to them. So if you look at it just like you are looking at the men of God of this day, you see them as people that are not doing much. They are just there. But the Bible made us understand that they too have their work cut out for them. And the Levite clan, we are divided into three, and the three tribes had individual work they are expected to do. In fact, the one we read last time, we found out that there was a clan in the Levites who are not allowed to touch the holy things. You can imagine that. You walk in the temple of the Lord, but you are not allowed to touch the holy things that are in the temple. It is only when they cover it with clothes, they wrap it around with clothes, then your job is to carry it around, carry it and go to the next location. You remember, it is a tabernacle that they are in and not a temple, because it's not built with rock. They are still camping around in the desert until they will eventually go to the promised land. So it is these people's job to carry heavy duty loads around until they get to their next campsite, and then they will camp there and hang everything. But they are not allowed to touch the holy things. So if you make a mistake because you are now walking and you are a Levite and you touch something that is holy, the Lord will still strike you and you just go. So it is as bad as that. So now, after everything, they have finished building the whole temple, they have finished the whole tabernacle, they have consecrated everything. The Leaders now, that is why I started drawing this, trying to bring us back to understand what I'm trying to say, is because he said the leaders now presented an offering to the Lord. If you hear the leaders, you will think, who are the leaders? Which leaders are they talking about? I thought it's just Moses that was heading them. No, they started having leaders according to their clan, their tribes, and all that. So after everything, they now had to dedicate, just like we do now in our churches. After the churches have been built, there is a need for them to invite the bishops or any other people that are higher people, especially men of God, to dedicate the church to the Lord. So that was what they were doing now. They now consecrated the church and dedicated. And now the leaders now start presenting gifts to the Lord. So we now saw that they said that they brought gifts. I'm reading now Numbers 7, verse 3. To the Lord 6 carved calves and 12 oxen, and they presented it before him. And the Lord said to Moses, accept these from them, so that it may be used in the work of the tent of meeting. Give it to the Levites, for each man's work requires. So you remember that we are talking about a tabernacle and not a tent. So at some point, when the cloud lifts, remember, if you followed the last reading, if the Lord lifts from the tabernacle, they will pack up. They will now know it is time for them to move to another site. They will pack up, remove all the camps, and start journeying to the next location. That was what the Israelites were doing throughout their stay in the desert until they got to the promised land. So if it is now time to pack up and leave, it is the job of the Levites to pack up everything that is in the tabernacle and get them moving. And you remember that there is a clan, I think the Kohanite clan, they are not allowed to touch the holy things. Therefore, they now gave them these carts. Carts are something that you can use. We have wheelbarrows now, but during those times it's normally carts, that one that has animals that can carry it, and even the ones that don't use animals, but still people can push it. Now they now have to use those things to carry such holy materials to the next location, which will be given to us by God. And as they are moving, oh, thank you so much, thank you for joining my live. I don't know how to pronounce your name, sorry. Now let's continue reading. So Moses took the calves and the oxen and gave them to the Levites. He gave 2 calves and 12 and 4 oxen to the Cushites as their work required, and gave 4 calves and 8 oxen to the Meronites as their work required. They were all under the directions of Eterma, son of Aaron, the priest. But Moses did not give any to the Kohanites. Can you imagine that? Because they were to carry on their shoulders the holy things for which they were responsible. When the altar was anointed, the leaders brought their offering for its dedication and presented them before the altar. For the Lord had said to Moses, each day one leader is to bring his offering for the dedication of the altar. So are you now seeing it? The Kohanite clan, those people I was telling you about, they still did not give them the carts. Why? Because they are to carry the holy things in their shoulders. They are to carry it in their shoulders. Remember, they are not to touch those things. So you can so as you are doing, if you mess up, you just go, just like that. So chapter 12 verse 12 says, the one who brought his offering on the first day was Noshan, son of Amminadab, of the tribe of Judah. His offering was 1 silver plate weighing 130 shekels, and 1 silver sprinkling bowl weighing 70 shekels, according to the sanctuary shekel, each filled with fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering. 1 goldfish weighing 6 shekels, filled with incense. 1 young bull one ram, one male lamb, one male lamb a year old for a burnt offering, one male goat for a sin offering, and two oxen, five rams, five goats, five male goats, five male lambs a year old to be sacrificed as a fellowship offering. This is the offering of the Nishan, son of the Aminadab. So this is the first person as they dedicated the the altar of the Lord, or rather the tabernacle, and they had to do it each day. Each tribe will bring their offering. I remember the offerings is not the ones we now do today in our churches, where you just bring, you use money to come and bring offering, you just dance and come and bring and go. No, their own was still sacrifice. So all the things they brought, they still have to present it to the Lord. They will kill those animals, the blood will be sprinkled around the altar, and the fats, the intestine, the inner parts of the body of the animal will be burnt in the altar of the Lord as a pleasing aroma to the Lord. The rest, we will take them out, skin them alive and all that, and come and share the Levites and so on and so forth. So they had to continue doing these sacrifices for 12 days as they were everything concerning the tabernacle. So on the Nephthah, on the second day, Netel, son of Zoar, the leader of Issachar, brought his offering. The offering he brought was one silver plate weighing 130 shekels, and one silver sprinkling bowl weighing 70 shekels, both according to the sanctuary shekel, each mixed with fine flour, mixed with oil, as a grain offering. One goldfish weighing 10 shekels, filled with incense, one young bull, one ram, and one male lamb a year old, often for a burnt offering, one male goat for a sin offering, and two oxen, five ram, five goats, five male lambs 1 year old, a sacrifice as a fellowship offering. This was the offering of Nathan, son of Zoar. So somebody will ask, how are they getting all these things that they are using? I thought they are in the desert. I thought they were once fed with manna. I thought they had no food. I thought they were looking for water, and so many thinkings. Yes, I was thinking the same way. That is why I brought it up. But you remember that the Lord said that when they were going, they did not leave empty. That was how they were able to procure all these things that you are seeing. That God gave them favor in the eyes of the Egyptians, that each person they went to say, please give me this. And people were dashing them gold, giving them silver, giving them gold scarlets and all these clothing as they wanted to leave the place. You can imagine that somebody that you held hostage for a while just wanted to go, and now said, please give me your car key, I want to go. And you just go inside the house and carry your car key and give the person and say, oh yeah, go, bye, see you. That was exactly what happened to the Israelites. So they took so many things and they left with their livestock. They left with every single thing they owned. That was why they still had to maintain this kind of wealth. They were able to even build the tabernacle of the Lord and still have more money and more things to offer. On the third day, Elbi, son of Helion, the leader of the people of Zebulun, brought his offering. His offering was one silver plate weighing 130 shekels, one silver sprinkling bowl weighing 70 shekels, according to the sanctuary shekel, each filled with fine flour. Okay, fine flour. One bull, one ram, one. So it's almost the same thing that almost all of them were given. On the fourth day, Eliezer, son of Shedor, the leader of the people of Reuben brought his own offering, the same offering. On the 5th day, Shemuel, son of Zeshadai, the leader of the people of Simeon, brought his offering, the same offering. On the 6th day, Elsaphat, son of Delun, the leader of the people of Gad, brought his offering, the same offering. On the 7th day, Elshama, son of Amihad, the leader of the people of Ephraim, they brought his own offering. That is the same offering that all of them are bringing on different days. It was as if the offerings were specified because they say according to the sanctuary shekels. So there was a requirement for each of them to present to the Lord. So on the 8th day, Gemali, son of Podaj, the leader of the people of Manasseh, brought his own offering. On the 9th day, Abidan, son of Gadimon, the leader of the people of Benjamin, brought his own offering. On the 10th day, Hazara, son of Ammishdai, the leader of the people of Gad, brought his own offering, the same offering. On the 11th day, Page, son of Pegal, son of Okshan, and the leader of the people of Asher, brought his own offering. On the 12th day, Ahira, son of Aaron, the leader of the people of Naphtali, brought his own offering. So all the 12 tribes of Israel all presented the same offering to the Lord on their individual giving days for the dedication of the tabernacle of the Lord. So these were the offerings of the Israelite leaders for the dedication of the altar when it was anointed: 12 silver plates, 12 silver sprinkling bowls, 12 gold dishes, each silver plate weighing 130 shekels, and each sprinkling bowl 70 shekels. Altogether, the silver plates weighed 2,400 shekels according to the sanctuary shekel. The 12 gold dishes filled the incense weighed 10 shekels each according to the sanctuary shekels, according to the gold. Altogether, the gold dishes weighed 120 shekels. The total number of animals that for burnt offerings came to 12 young bulls, 12 rams, 12 male lambs a year old together, the grain offerings. The total number of animals for the sacrifice of the fellowship offering came to 24 oxen, 60 rams, 60 male goats, 60 male lambs a year old. These were the offerings for the dedication of the altar after it was anointed. When Moses entered the tent of meeting to speak to the Lord, he heard the voice of him from between the two cherubims above the atonement cover of the ark of the testimony, and he spoke to him. So this is for chapter 7 of Numbers, talking about the dedication of the altar and how everything went. And there's something good about the Bible: it documents every single detail of how things happened during that time, so that you will not say they made it up. No, they had scribes, people that write down. That is why it is called Numbers, because it has a lot of numbers of exactly everything that happened during that era. They had to write down the statistics of whatever happened, so that is why it is Numbers. So this is what they all did to dedicate the altar of the Lord. Now we are going to read chapter 8 of the Numbers. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to Aaron and say to him, when you set up the 7 lamps, they are to light the area in front of the lampstand." Aaron did so. He set up the lamps so that they faced forward as the lamps on the lampstand, just as the Lord commanded Moses. This is how the lampstand should be made. It was made of hammered gold from the base to its bosom. The lampstand which made exactly like the pattern the Lord showed Moses. So, what is about this lamp? What is it about this lamp that we have to understand? You remember that in the New Testament, the Bible tells us that we are the light of the world. Can anybody light a lamp and keep it under the bushel? If you are a Bible student, you will remember. This helps you to understand that the need for illumination. There's is so much need for illumination in the house of the Lord. And we are now the present houses of the Lord, because it says that your body is the temple of the living God. During that olden days, they had a tabernacle where they can host God, and the Lord specified how the lampstand should show forth. It should be able to project light forward, should be able to illuminate the whole environment. But now, presently, we are now the carriers of the body of Jesus Christ. We are now the temple of the Lord, and the Holy Spirit dwells within us. That is why it is said that we are now the light of the world. So, your light should always reflect in any establishment, any environment you find yourself. Wherever you are, people should identify you as a Christian. Some people take it as an insult when they say, leave him, oh, he's a Christian. No, it should be an honor for people to know that this kind of things should not be discussed with you, because he will not do it or she will not do it. She is a Christian. On the born again. That is how they normally say it in my own side. It is not something to be afraid of. Your light should always project. That is why it is said, can you light a lamp and put it under the bushel? No, you don't hide yourself as a true child of God. You don't hide who you are. You are out to be a light. You are to show people the right way things are supposed to be done. Without a light in an environment, if you come into your house, the first thing you put on is a light so that you'll be able to see. Otherwise, you will fall and injure yourself. So in a society, in an establishment where there is no light, people are messing up the whole environment through bribery, through corruption, through evil things. It is your duty as a child of God to enter that place and bring light into that establishment. Illuminate that whole place so that people will see the right way to do things. So that people will know that this is the right way. That the way that we are doing it before is wrong. That we should be able to project the light of the Lord. Teach people the right things to do. It is your duty to teach. It is their duty to follow. Because it is the Holy Spirit that compels people to change. It is not based on what I am saying now online that will make you change your mind. A lot of people might be watching me and say, leave this person, all these church people, they are always preaching, every time preaching. It is the conviction of the Holy Spirit that helps people change, not because of the English I'm speaking. So your ability to project the light is to teach people what is expected of them to know. Then you allow the Holy Spirit to do the rest. But you should not keep quiet in a place where you know things are going wrong and you are there and you are keeping quiet. You are just wasting that light that the Lord has given you. You are wasting it. And sooner or later, you will be asked a lot of questions concerning that, because you are expected to project light everywhere you go. So the same light is what they are talking about in the Old Testament, where it's telling Moses that the light, if you put it on, make sure it is shining forward. It is making everywhere. I don't know, the network is cutting this thing. I'm coming.